Imagine you're a German soldier in 1944. Through your binoculars, you see tanks lining up in the distance, troops moving into formation. Radio chatter fills the airwaves. An attack is coming. But what if I told you none of it was real? This is the story of the Ghost Army, a secret unit of artists, sound engineers, and deceivers who fought the Nazis not with bullets, but with illusions. They saved thousands of lives and changed the course of the war, all while keeping their mission hidden for decades. Stick around, because what you're about to hear sounds like a Hollywood movie, but it is 100% true. During World War II, the United States was desperate to gain any advantage they could over Nazi Germany. In 1944, the US Army created a unit so secret, most soldiers didn't even know it existed. It's named the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, but it would become known by another name, the Ghost Army. This wasn't your typical military unit. It was made up of artists, designers, set builders, sound technicians, even fashion designers and actors. Why? Because the mission wasn't to fight, it was to deceive. Their job tricked the Nazis into thinking US forces were somewhere they weren't. At the heart of their operation were three powerful tools: inflatables, sound, and radio. Let's start with the inflatables. Yes, you heard that right. Inflatable tanks, trucks, and even artillery. These rubber decoys looked real from a distance. From a spy plane, it was impossible to tell the difference. Now combine that with sound deception. Using giant speakers, they blasted pre-recorded sounds of soldiers marching, tanks moving, and troops setting up camp, sometimes loud enough to be heard 15 miles away. And finally, radio deception. Expert radio operators mimicked the signals of real US units, creating an illusion of military presence where there was none. Together, these illusions created entire fake divisions. To the enemy, it looked and sounded like thousands of troops were preparing for battle. One of their most daring missions was Operation Viersen in March 1945. The real US forces were preparing to cross the Rhine River, but they needed the Germans looking elsewhere. So the Ghost Army staged a fake crossing, complete with rubber tanks, sound effects and radio transmissions, and the Nazis fell for it. They moved their troops to the decoy location, leaving the actual crossing point vulnerable, and allowing the real US Army to move in with minimal resistance. Thousands of lives were likely saved by a bunch of artists and actors. The Ghost Army was made up of about 1,100 men, but their work was equal to an army of 30,000, and some of them would go on to become famous. Fashion designer Bill Blass, photographer Art Kane, and painter Ellsworth Kelly all served in the Ghost Army, but back then they were just doing their part, using their talents not to kill but to protect. Their motto was simple: it's easier to win a war if your enemy is looking the wrong way. What makes the Ghost Army even more incredible is that their story was classified for nearly 50 years. Their own families didn't know what they had done. It wasn't until the 1990s that the truth started coming out. Veterans of the unit finally began sharing their stories. In 2013, a documentary aired on PBS, and more recently, Hollywood has shown interest in turning their story into a major film. But here's the sad part: many of the men who served never lived to see their mission honored. In 2022, the Ghost Army was finally awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, one of the highest honors in the United States. In a world obsessed with brute force, the Ghost Army reminds us that creativity is powerful. That ideas, even fake ones, can change the course of history. If you enjoyed this story, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. I tell untold stories from history you won't find in your school books. YouTube thinks you will love the next video that's now on screen, and honestly, it's one of my favorites. Click it now and find out how Hitler invented methadone that helps recovering addicts break free from their addiction. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.